Welcome to day 5 of the 30 days AI automation challenge. Today we are going to be building this particular workflow and I want to use it to explain variables and expressions in n8n. So what is this particular workflow? When a form is completed, the fields or whatever the person must have filled should go inside a Google Sheet, and based on the contents in the Google Sheet, their responses should be divided into these two other places. So we are going to use switch to determine where the data flow into, whether to get a mail from here or to get a mail from here. So that's what we will be building. We are all going to be using the n8n cloud again today. I don't want anybody to be restricted. I don't want the people that are still trying to install Docker and run n8n on Docker to say they are unable to complete the task, as well as the people using their mobile phone. So n8n.io, log into your account and let's add the first trigger or the trigger. We're using just one trigger and it's still going to be the on form submission. Don't forget, I said when people fill a form, it should go inside an Excel sheet, and based on the content in the Excel sheet, something should happen. So this form, I want to call it tax status. So we want a situation whereby people will fill the form. I'm adding form elements, first name, and based on their salary, they will get a mail whether they are going to be taxed or not. So the element type is text. We did this yesterday. Add another one, last name. The label, what the person will see is last name. The element is also text. So we want it to be required. You can turn this on so the person cannot jump those elements. So let's add email, and then the label is email and the element type is email. So let's add just one more, and that will be salary. So the salary label is also salary, and then the element type is going to be drop down. And what will be the values in the drop down? So the first option is 0 to 800K. This has nothing to do with tax, so don't mind me. I'm just writing anything here. The second option will be 800K plus. Okay, and we're done. So this is the form. So if we execute this step now, this particular form, people will be able to, it will tell you it's listing and they can fill it. This is a test URL. There's a production URL. So in case you are thinking of using this form outside anything, test is you just execute, it will open it once and close. But the production URL, you will be able to embed this in your own website or use it to gather information if you're, kind of creating a workflow. And we will still see if when you can use your own Gmail to create your Google form or Microsoft form or any other form at all, we'll get there. So we are done with our form, right? I don't want to test it now. Let's just close it. So this particular node is done. The second node will be the Google Sheets. Don't forget, we created a Google Sheet yesterday. So I have adjusted something in the Google Sheet. Create a Google Sheet, give it a name, and then what will be the headers there? First name, last name, email, salary, and I change this to tax status. If you check very well in the form, I did not include tax status because the person filling the form should not be the one to determine his or her tax status. It should be determined by the salary. So that's where we're going to be talking about the expressions and variable. So based on the person's salary, the tax status will be determined. So create this uh, Google Sheets, take note of the file name, and it's on sheet one. So we'll come back here and add sheets. Again, we did this yesterday, and pick Google Sheets and append or update a row. So this is it, append or update a row. Because we don't even have what is going to be in the input yet, there is nothing to actually map here. So let's execute the previous node so that I'll be able to see all the fields there. So I'll just execute the previous node and let me just fill a form. So we've submitted the form. After submitting the form now, look at it, the fields are now here. So the next thing to do on the Google Sheets node that we added is to connect to our Google account. We did this yesterday. If you haven't done that, just click on create new credentials and log in into your Google account. That's all. As simple as that. Then you come down to the documents from list. It will list all the sheets that you have in your Google account. So this is the sheet n8n test. And then do I have many worksheets in there? So which one in particular do I want to connect to? It is just one. So sheet one. And then we now map what should go inside what. First name is a variable. So variables are, dynamic data. They are not static. They change. So these values can change. First name of a person, last name of the person filling the form, all these can change. So they are variables. So we are mapping these variables to each of the headers here. So whatever this person fills, not Tunde in this time around, because Tunde is just the value that is being stored inside the variable. Whatever the next person fills to should come inside first name. Last name come inside last name. Email come inside mail. Salary come inside salary. You notice that the tax status that we added here is also here, but there is no value from the form that should go inside there. We planned it because that should be determined by an expression. So what is an expression? An expression is the logic written inside the curly parentheses that reads, transforms, or combines variables. So when we combine variables together, it evaluates to a value at runtime. Let me break that formula down. Just see it as a formula in mathematics. Your expression. You're saying half base times height. That's the expression. So when you now supply the value of base and height, those are variables. When you run the values and plug the values in the formula, you get something. That's an expression. So here, the tax status, we will use an expression to determine the tax status. Remember, I said the tax status is if your salary is 0 to 800, no tax. If it is more than that, you will be taxed. That's what we're doing. So we click expression here because we want that to be determined at runtime. We want it to evaluate whatever we put in there and come up with something. So we clicked on expression here, and inside here you see all this JSON. This curly bracket is what we'll put in there when we're writing our expressions. Where is it on your keyboard? On my own keyboard, it is on the square bracket beside P. That is my keyboard. So check your own keyboard. So I'm using Shift and I press it twice. That is how to do this. Press it twice and it has opened and closed it twice. Then in between, that is where I would write my expression. And look at all these. These are what we call functions. JSON, now, if empty, and so on. We will talk about functions later. So what I want to do now is to say if, look at it, if I clicked on it and it has added it inside that two curly brackets. So it's saying if what? If the salary is less than is 0 to 800k, no task. If not, there is a. So we are saying if the person's salary is 800k plus, we can say true, meaning the person is going to pay tax. If not, the person is not going to pay tax. So how do we write that expression? Inside this if, we will drag salary, which is a variable because it can change. I don't want to put a fixed value there. We are saying whatever the person puts inside the salary is what should be evaluated each time. So I will drag this salary now and put it inside this and say, look at it. If this salary, look at it. I say if salary, okay, is something. So if this salary, I'll write it out now and say if salary is equal to, look at it, equal to is double equal to, is equal to 8 inside double quotes 800k plus. Why is it inside double quotes? Because we use strings here. We did data type yesterday. T here means text, not number. I did not use number for all this. We use text for everything here. So, and it's going to be inside quotes. So if salary, okay, if salary is 800k, look at that, is 800k, comma, then what is going to be the true value? The true value will be what? To pay tax, yes, no, whatever we want. But in this case, let's use true. If the value is 800k plus, let's change it to pay tax. Say, look at it. If the salary is equal to 800k, comma, to pay tax, that's what I've written now. Comma, if not, if you look here, it's already showing us how to write this. Value if true, comma, then value if false. So if false, inside double quote again, because it's a string, no tax. This is an expression. Let me show you again. If salary, we drag salary from here, is equal to, double equal to is what you use here to show it is different from one single equal to. One single equal to is assignment operator, but double equal to is you're comparing values and say is this is 800k, because that's what we're using to pay task. Quote it, comma, if not, if the value is false, no task, meaning that person is not collecting up to 800k. This is what we call an expression, and you'll be writing this also in your n8n to do different things. Okay, so with this now, we're done with the tax status. So the next thing we want to add now is we want to add what we call a switch. So search for a switch and add a switch. What is the job of a switch? You know, there will be two outcomes from the expression we just added. Some people are paying tax, some people are not paying tax. So for the people that are paying tax, we want them to receive a mail that says you are paying tax. For the people that are not going to pay tax, we want to say you are not paying tax. So let me just put the what's it called? The um let me save it with this. Let me refresh it. I don't know why this is taking forever, but it should work. Okay. All right. So this is now, if you check it now, you will be able to see the output. When we execute this, it comes in here and then there is something here. So let's execute it again. Let me put Ola Ade and salary option. Let's say you're not paying tax. Okay. All right. So look at it. It's saying the column to match. Remember, we talked about this yesterday. The column that will be used to do the matching. We are using email. So let's execute this. You see the output here. All right. So see, there is an output, and look at it. No tax. So if I go back and run it again and choose 800k plus, it will say the person is paying tax. That's that with this. So we added a switch. Let me open the switch. For the switch, you can add rules here. So it says rule, then routing rules. What is rule one? If the salary, drag salary in here, if the salary is equal to 0 to 800k, that's the first rule. The second rule, how they write routing rule, if the same salary is 800k plus, you see that we've taken care of the two. Expression will check whether somebody is paying his tax or not. If the person's salary is between 0 and 800k or 800k plus, those are the two rules. You can keep adding the rules here. So we've added rules. And since we added two rules, look at it here. We now have two outcomes here. You see, one is 0, which is the first rule, and then the second rule. So what should happen to the people in rule 1, which is what? Check out rule 1, people that are not paying tax. So I can come here and add and put maybe Gmail here and then say send a message. So I'll put send a message and connect my Gmail account as usual, and then come down here to which email address. You're not putting a fixed email address, you are putting a variable, and that variable is the person's email. So you drag the email into the two. So every time it will be fetching the person's email, not just one static email. That's a variable. Then the subject can be anything, the subject for the mail. Then the email type, I want it as text. Then what should be the message that should be sent to that person? I want it to greet the person, to call the person by name. So if I type there, how do we know the person's name? Variable. There will come and drag the person's first name here and put here. Look at it. There, the person's first name, comma, then what's the message? These people, they are not paying tax, abi. You are not paying tax. That's for the first category. Okay, so we are fine with them. We'll close it. We'll come to the second here and put Gmail. And again, we are sending the mail, send the message. Again, we are sending it to the email address, and the subject is also tax status, and then email type text, and the message again, there, the person's name, and then you are paying. Yeah, I think these people are paying. You are paying tax. See what we've done here. We have simply built a workflow. If I execute this, it will be showing it node by node as it is moving. So the first one is working. So don't forget I'm using the tests. So I'll put another mail here. I'll just put any mail. And the salary option 800k plus. I submit. It goes to the next node. See, this has been done, this has been done, and look at the last node here. It's showing that it's here because rule 2 says 800k plus. If we fill the form again and choose 0 to 800, it will come here. So this is what we are building today, just to differentiate between or explain variables and expression. We're not differentiating variables and expression. So your assignment, do this. Test with different email addresses. Ensure you are able to receive the email at the end of the day. Make use of the notes that we've used there and explain what you mean by, what you understand by variables and expression in the comments, and engage with other people. This is your to do for today. We'll see you again tomorrow.